No one is talking about this, but what you eat before you fast is just as important as the fast itself. So these are the top 5 mistakes that I'm going to help you avoid and also share with you what to eat before you fast. Hey Wellness Warrior, I'm Dr. Nick Zyrowski and I want to help you get the most success with your health and get it from fasting. So the first thing we want to look at is your carbohydrate intake. And here's the problem. The average individual is consuming over 350 grams of carbohydrates per day. And if you're consuming that many carbs and then you go into a fast, you are going to have a very hard time fasting. So about a week prior to going into a 24-hour fast, a 48-hour fast, a 3-day fast, what you want to do is you want to start making all these changes we're talking about today. So you're going to cut your carbohydrate intake down significantly to 100 grams or even 50 grams of carbohydrates or less per day prior to going into your fast. And then the next thing you want to consider is sugar. And here's another big issue. The average individual is consuming over 125 pounds of sugar every single year, and you're probably one of them. So what we want to do is we want to start cutting back on sugar, because here's the issue is if you're consuming a lot of sugar and you go into a fast, it's going to cause a lot of nasty symptoms that don't feel well at all, because if you're constantly in this state of burning sugar for energy and your metabolism is stuck in that sugar burning mode and you go into a fast, what's going to happen is your sugar is going to bottom out and it's not going to feel good. When your blood sugar goes really low, it can cause a lot of nasty symptoms, which we'll talk about in just a second. And here's the thing that we're trying to accomplish as we look a week prior to fasting. We are trying to start mimicking what is going to happen physiologically while fasted. And so if we don't do that, here's what's going to happen to you. You're going to get these types of symptoms. First of all, some really bad fatigue when you're in a fasted state. This is going to be mainly because of what your blood sugar is doing. You're going to have issues like headaches, and this can be really awful. You know, I've fasted for over 10 years now, and when I first started fasting, I learned about all the amazing benefits of fasting. However, one of the things I didn't know is how to properly do it. So I would just, go about eating my normal diet, which wasn't healthy at the time, and do a lot of things that wasn't really good for me. And then I would go, boom, I'm going into a 2-3 day fast. And oh my goodness, I get massive migraine issues, massive headache issues. So in order to avoid it, you're not only going to want to implement what we talked about so far, but what we're about to talk about as well. Also, you'll get symptoms like dizziness, irritability, and poor sleep, along with even some shaking and muscle cramps and so much more, okay? And what does this all equate to? A very bad experience. I have people tell me all the time, Dr. Zyrowski, I cannot fast because all of these things happen to me. The reason you can't fast and all these symptoms are happening is because you are not preparing properly for your fast. So this is why you need to know what to eat before you fast. There's some other points we have to consider here. The first is going to be protein intake. Almost 99% of the time when I look at an individual's protein intake, it's too low. And what happens is if you're consuming too little protein prior to your fast, you're going to go into your fast and really struggle. So what I like to do is make sure that you're eating adequate protein or even above normal amounts of protein for your body so that you can prepare for the fast. As I said, if you go into a fast and you've starved yourself of adequate protein for the week prior, the fast starts to be really uncomfortable. And so if you're not familiar with how to figure out how much protein you should eat, you want to go about 0.8 times your ideal body weight, and that will tell you how many grams of protein you should be consuming. And if you're exercising hard every day, you basically want to go 1-to-1, 1 gram of protein to every pound of body weight, all the way up to your ideal body weight, okay? And that means that if you're looking to lose 30 pounds, your ideal body weight is 30 pounds less than where you're currently at. So up your protein. The next is focus on electrolytes. It's time to up your electrolytes during this time. If you don't up your electrolytes and then you go into a fast in an electrolyte depleted state, what will happen as the water flushes from your system and your blood sugar goes low and your insulin goes low and it dumps a lot of electrolytes that are in your body out, you will start to get a lot of nasty symptoms, all of these. So we want to start upping our electrolytes. If you're not using electrolyte powder, you don't know of a good one to use, I'll put a link in the description to the one that I use prior to fasting and also in order to keep me well hydrated, okay? Which brings us to the topic of hydration, because hydration isn't just about water, it's about electrolytes as well. So we wanna make sure that we're drinking plenty of water and then putting electrolytes in it to get our electrolyte levels up so that we fast really, really successfully. Once again, I'll put a link to the electrolyte powder that I use. This helps me fast right. And then we want to focus on removing caffeine from our diet about a week prior, because the issue is that if you're somebody who's well caffeinated, I mean, you're drinking your 1, 2, 3 cups of coffee, your energy drinks and your sodas and all these things, and you go into a fast, oh my goodness, that caffeine crash will typically cause massive headache or even migraine issues when you combine that with your blood sugar being low. And so what we want to do is we want to make these changes, as I said, a week prior to going into your fast so that your physiology is well prepped for the fasted state. And your metabolism has already started to expand a little bit and become a little bit more flexible so that when you go into a fasted state, not only are you able to get there quickly into a fasted state, but also you're able to get the most out of your fast and do it successfully so that you have a good experience, so that whenever you're looking to improve your health through fasting, you know that that is a tool you can use and use successfully. I'm Dr. Nick Zyrowski. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet, and then also be sure to check out this video next.